Right, it's TV time again, and I'm doing a voice over on this one because I've lost the microphone that I normally use. The microphone that I normally use, as you probably know, is a headset mic. It just fits around the head, which is why I call it a headset mic. And once I finish, I usually just take it off and leave it in the workshop, put some new batteries in or charge the batteries up, etc. But one night, I took it with me somewhere. I still had it in my house. I think I went shopping. I can't remember, something stupid. Or I went in the house and I took it off. So I can't find it in the house. It may be in the car. I'm not too sure. So I've gone back to the original microphone setup, which will be much better quality. But for doing a commentary as I go along, then no, it wouldn't work. So I decided to just record what I was doing on this, because this is just one of those silly videos that I did. We're not going to learn anything much on this apart from how things break in the post. But I thought I'd do it anyway. This is a TV I repaired just before Christmas and sold just before Christmas. And lo and behold, 2 days later it came back. I put a brand new set of backlights in this. I'm looking for this is a Bush 40-inch smart TV. I was looking for, I don't know if we saw it then. I saw it definitely when I was making the video, but I'm not too sure if that camera picked it up. But I'm just looking for the Bush logo that came on, and I did see it. So it's a backlight issue again. And I put a brand new set of backlights in this, and I can't believe that a brand new set of backlights only lasted a day or two. I think, not even that. I think the guy said he sat down to watch it one night, and after 2 hours, the picture just went off. It went black. It does happen. I mean, sometimes you do get some faulty batches of backlights. It's not nice when it happens, but anyway, I offered the guy his money back and said sorry and all that. But he said, no, I'd rather have it repaired if you can get it sorted. To which I replied, of course I can get it sorted. I don't know if I can. This TV's probably got more issues than I know about. And it may not be worth sorting. Sometimes these TVs, if it gets you, going down holes you don't want to go down, it's best just to keep the TV for spares, especially this particular model. This particular model has all sorts of backlight issues. But anyway, I gave him his money back and I said I will repair it. But it was Christmas time, so I didn't have the chance to repair it straight away. So here we are a couple of weeks later, and he still wants the TV. So I thought, okay, he's quite determined. So I thought, okay, I'll investigate. We'll open it up. So what I'm doing at the moment is just taking the screws off this and taking the back off. I'm going to check for the wires at the back and see if there's an issue with wires coming off the back of the power supply, the LED. I think it's just got 2 wires that go to the bank of LEDs from the power supply on this. That could have fallen off in transit, I suppose, if I didn't put it back on properly. But I'm a little bit confused to why the backlights did go off, quite simply because it's a brand new set of backlights, and I always give a year's warranty when I put a brand new set of backlights in. Now, this is sometimes where the customer can get confused. When you say it's got if I'm doing a repair of a TV and I give a year's warranty, it's obviously a year's warranty on the repair that I've done. I can't warrant the parts that I've got not responsible for. So if I replace a power board in a TV, I will give a year's warranty for that power board, whether it's brand new or second hand. I think that's only fair. But sometimes TVs come back afterwards and there's a different fault. It's a main board fault. And you have to explain to the customer, oh, I'm sorry, but this time your main board's gone. How unlucky are you? Sorry, but it's not connected to your warranty, but I'll do my best to help you out. And when it comes to putting backlights in, obviously it's the backlights that are warranted for a year. Well, not on this case. It's the whole TV which is warranted because I sold the whole TV. The only thing I stipulate is the screen does not have a warranty because they're easy to break. Even by people overzealously polishing them, TV screens can break. So I always make it clear that the screen is not warranted. But everything else is. all the circuit boards, the backlights, and anything else that could go wrong. So this TV's come back, and I'm just trying to find out now why it's come back and why the backlights have gone. And the funny thing is, even though it was probably only a couple of weeks, well, maybe 4 weeks ago now that I repaired this TV, I have no memories of it. And I did do a video of repairing it, but it wasn't a terribly exciting video of just taking backlights out and putting new backlights in. I mean, I've done so many of those that it's now getting to the stage when, you know, I'm being a bit fussy what I choose. So I did record it, but I decided to delete it in the end. And so I'd forgotten what the backlights were like when I put them in. So the back's going to come off this. We're going to investigate, obviously, the power supply first and see what else could have possibly gone on this. Just in case a wire has fallen out. Could be the case. This is just a Bush 40-inch Vestel. It's not a 4K TV. It's a full HD TV, and it's a smart Wi-Fi TV. But it will become apparent, if not a little bit surprising. So here's the exciting bit. Dismantling another Vestel TV. Now, I'm sure you've heard me say on several occasions, I'm not dissing the Vestel range, even though all TVs seem to be looking a bit cheaper, and they seem to be made a lot cheaper with each new model that comes out. This one just has terrible issues with the backlights. But anyway, I'm just taking off the speaker bezel, which also protects the screen tabs, because the screen's got to come out. We've got to look at the backlights and see what's going on. So again, trying to be as gentle as possible, I'm going to prise off the bezel. I have to do this, and it's two ways of doing this. The most important thing is when you're prising it off, not to have your fingers and your thumbs on the screen, because it's quite easy to put a thumbprint and a bit of pressure on, and crack goes the screen. So it's just a fine art of prising it off. At the same time, just using a screwdriver. I really am not a fan of the way that these particular bezels are clipped on. They're very flimsy and not much fun to get off, but it does the job. I mean, I suppose, and we've said this on quite a few occasions, that these TVs are built not to be repaired. One of the biggest problems is when you're dismantling a TV and you're trying to get the bezel off is the tape that surrounds the bezel. Not so much the screws do their job, but some of the tape that they use. I mean, it's really strong stuff, and trying to get it off, it gets in the way. But you can see here the clips down the side, and you have to get your prizing tool, or in this case I think I'm just using a screwdriver, or maybe using my prizing tool here, I can't remember, because this was all recorded a couple of days ago. Quite a few people ask me, when I'm using two hands, which I'm doing here, how can I change the camera angle? Because I've got 6 cameras altogether. Well, I'm not. That's done, as they say, in post-production. So all 6 cameras that I have, if I'm using all 6 on this particular, I'm probably only using 4 or 5. But all 6 cameras are recording, so they record every angle all the time. And then when you're doing your editing afterwards, you select which camera you want to choose. I've got a screen which has got 6, it shows me all 6 bits. So if I'm pointing at something, I choose the camera that's closer to the bit that I'm pointing to, if that makes sense. So that's all done in post-production. I'm not changing the camera angle as I fix these TVs, because you've got to concentrate enough on just sorting out the TV, especially when it comes to this bit, which is getting this very flimsy, flexible screen off. Why I'm not using my gloves here, I don't know. It's a bit naughty. I think I'd got to the opinion that I probably wasn't going to repair this TV, because once you get a TV that comes back that's a real pain in the backside, you suddenly think, oh, if I break it, I break it. If I get fingerprints on it, I get fingerprints on it, and not really that bothered about it. It's more of a bit of fun of making the video. And I suppose the other thing I must stress, and I probably don't stress this enough, I make these videos because I like video editing. I really don't make them because I think I'm the greatest TV repair person in the world, because I'm not. I actually think I'm one of the worst. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm doing this in a workshop in a big shed at the bottom of my garden, which is actually something that I love. It's the best thing I ever did, put a nice big workshop in the bottom of the garden. So I'm not ashamed of that. But it's much better to repair these TVs, especially when you're dealing with screens and stuff, in the main workshop that I have, which I've got 2 or 3 different workbenches. So I never claim to be making these videos as this is how you do it and everybody else has got it wrong. I do this because I love the video editing software that I've got, and I like doing the video editing. And so combining the fact that I can do repairs with the editing is just a bonus, but the fun is more on the video editing. So I'm not trying to be the great know-all of electronics and TV repair. Because as you've probably noticed by now, if you've been watching this channel long enough, I ain't. It's just a bit of fun, which at the same time pays the mortgage and gets me some beer vouchers, which is an added bonus. Right, so the bezels come off, screens come off, and we can now look at the backlights. And as I've probably mentioned on several occasions, this is a brand new set of backlights in here. They are less than 2 weeks old. They should not be failing. So I need to go through and find out why they are failing. The other thing, I don't know if you've noticed, with this particular 40-inch TV, and it may just be this, maybe Vestel's done it with other 40s, I bet they have, but there are no screen supports. Over the last 2 or 3 years, the screen supports have disappeared. No. They never had screen supports on a 32-inch, but on a 40-inch and above, they did. But on this one, no screen supports at all, just the clips, which is holding the reflector plate down, or the reflector paper down. So, you know, if you've got kids and they go prodding the TV, or if you accidentally hit the center of the screen, there's nothing there to protect it. I mean, you had a little bit of a chance with the screen clips that are there, but not now. Now, it suddenly dawned on me what had happened when I'd put this TV together. The eagle-eyed among you may have seen already a strange-looking LED in the top right-hand corner. Well, actually there, it's at the bottom left-hand corner. And even though this is a brand new set, when they arrived, I buy all this stuff comes over from China, and I buy it in bulk. I don't just buy one set at a time, especially with this particular TV chassis. You might as well buy 3 or 4, if not 10 or 15 at once, and stock up. But on this one I didn't. I'd only got one set, and it had arrived damaged. And one end had broken off completely. So all that I did, I do have plenty of spare LEDs, singular LEDs. I just attached one to the end. And again, it was a brand new one. I tested it, and of course it worked. So that may look a bit strange in that corner there of that piece of wire connected to a single LED, but it's just because it arrived damaged in the post and I had to do something. because they do take between 2 and 6 weeks to get to you, so I didn't want to wait another 2 to 6 weeks of waiting in for a new set to arrive. Okay, what I'm doing now, I'm just scraping off the enamel on the ends of the well, you can call it the negative side, the ground side, if you would, because I'm going to get the probes from a meter that I'm not using, and I'm going to link them together. So I'm going to get a red and a black probe. I was going to solder them together, but actually they go together. So now that's one constant line that I've got in my hand to short out, to get continuity, to see if that lights any up, just in case. My thought process here is maybe a ground track has broken somewhere. That usually does happen on these, but usually after about 3 or 4 years, not 3 or 4 weeks. Well, it's not even 3 or 4 weeks old, but anyway. So I'm finding the ground on the right and the ground on the left, or the negative on the right, negative on the left. I've got used to saying ground these days. Very American. And I'm just seeing if a trace has broken. That's my plan. And as you can see here, a trace hasn't broken. So I'm now going to short out each particular LED just to see if I get a flash, just to see if it comes on for a second. So that will tell me which strip is faulty. So I'm trying the bottom strip first. Nope. Then the center strip. Nope. And what about the top strip? Because don't forget the TV is on. It's on and... Aha. Now, at this present moment in time, I can't work out why it's doing that. While I put a ground to chassis, why that bottom one comes on. It'll all become clear when I find out what the fault is. Now, I've just done a couple of taps there with the positive. I'm just doing grounds at the moment, but I'd accidentally got onto the positive, and it shorted it out when I tapped the metal chassis, and you can't see it, but there were 2 black marks on the chassis, and it put the TV into standby. So I'm just resetting the TV and switching it back on again, and then going to try again with the probes, because my thought process originally was, there's got to be a continuity break somewhere. Because as the guy said, he was watching it for a couple of hours and then the picture just went off. I've already tested the voltage coming out of the power supply from the LED driver, and that's what it's supposed to be. And once again, I'm trying to get my head round why I short ground on the top set of LEDs to the chassis, why the bottom set comes on and not the bottom 2 sets or all 3 sets. But we'll find out why in a second. So what I'm doing is just going through and testing each individual LED using the test pads that they have. Now, this is not using my LED meter. This is once again just one piece of wire. The black and red are joined together here, so I'm shorting out just to see if there is an erroneous LED which is playing up. And if I manage to short that one out, then they all should come lighting up. But trying that on the middle strip doesn't work. So I'm just going through the bottom strip now and seeing if I can get them all to come on. Of course, what I could do is just stick in a whole new set of LEDs. The other sets have arrived, so I can do that, but sometimes when you've got half an hour and a cup of coffee, it's just nice to find out what the fault is. So I'm thinking of all sorts of different ways. how I can find out what it is, find out what the problem is. So I'm just going through all the individual LEDs and shorting them out just in case there's one which has blown. Now that's the bit that surprises me without going too far into detail, but I would have thought that finding out what the fault is, that should have lit up. Just realised I can play some music here. Since I'm doing a voiceover and I'm putting it through my main mixer, I can play a little bit of music, which maybe you can hear, I don't know. Yes, you can, but that's enough of that. Just nice to have a bit of music in the background sometimes. So this has stumped me at the moment. Don't seem to have any LEDs which have gone. The traces seem to be fine. The power is getting to the backlights. I'm trying to short everything out I possibly can to get them to light up, and I'm having no joy. Now, what I really should have done is what I normally do, and I don't know why I didn't. So, I think at this stage I'm just unplugging the LEDs from the power supply, and I'm going to get my LED tester out, and I'm just going to go through them strip by strip, and I'm going to test to see which ones light up. And at the moment I'm trying to light them all up. There's a positive and negative contact here which should light them all. So this is my LED tester. I'm putting the voltage in and I'm getting nothing, and that really does surprise me. I'd have thought if I'd have got one gone or one short, they should all light up bar the one that's gone faulty, to at least give me some indication of where the problem is. So I'm going to go through the strips individually. As you see, the bottom strip, fine. Middle strip is fine. And then we get to the top strip, and it's not fine. So at least now I can get my attention to this top strip. And I bypass that one that I put in, and the top strip lights. So it turns out, after all the faffing about that I've done, because normally these LEDs have a high failure rate of the trace burning up and the trace breaking up, and I had that in my mind thinking that's what the problem's going to be, and actually it turns out that this one LED that I put in, because this was the damaged strip, that's the one that's gone. And the reason that it's gone, it's not that it's an old LED, they're brand new LEDs. But what I must have done is tested this strip, or tested that LED, and got the polarity the wrong way around. And that actually, if it doesn't blow the LED, if you get the positive and negative the wrong way around, it doesn't half weaken it. And you tend to find that after a couple of days that LED will fail if you've ever tested it with the polarity the wrong way around. So I'm bypassing that LED now just to see if the TV comes on by itself. I've taken that little 3-volt LED that I stuck in, and I've just shorted the wires together. So we're bridging the connection on that and just putting the wires back into the power board, plugging in the TV, and hoping that the set will come on. But it doesn't. And again, I'm testing the plugs and the wires and the sockets. I haven't got an IR sensor plugged in, so what I'm doing is using the toggle switch on the main board to power the TV on. I suddenly realise I'm not toggling enough. I'm just pushing it in, and you should wiggle it a little bit. And again, just there, I just pressed it in. But this time I'm giving the mainboard toggle a good wiggle, and lo and behold, the backlights come on, proving that that one LED that I stuck in must have been weakened by something, getting the polarity wrong. So I'm going to get a new LED out of the box. I'm still going to use a single one, because there's no the rest of the strip is still brand new. The other, what, 7 is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on that bottom strip that we can see here. It's the top strip as far as I'm looking at it, but the camera angle's inverted. So all I'm going to do, and you can see me at the moment now testing that LED at the bottom, and it was completely open, and it's only had 2 hours worth of play, but as I said, I've weakened it somehow. So I'm getting another one here. This is a brand new one out of the box, and I almost got the positive and negative there the wrong way around. I noticed at the last minute, and if you do that, it weakens it or blows it straight away. But I didn't. So this is fresh out the box, never been used. I've used these in emergencies in the past, and they have lasted years. I know the bad ones that you can buy from China and eBay and other places that you shouldn't use, because they do only last a couple of weeks, couple of months. But these are, I won't say these are the expensive ones, but these are the good ones, and as long as you don't get the polarity wrong when you test them or wire them up, these will last for years. They're actually Philips LEDs. They're usually used in Philips sets, and they just get cut up and used as a singular item. And I've been using these for years, and they're absolutely fine, apart from the other one that I put in, which wasn't fine. Anyway, so I'm just soldering this in, and I'm going to use some double-sided tape and get it well positioned, and then just test it. And now when I say just test it, I'm going to give it a really good test. I'm going to put it on test for at least 24 hours, and I want it to stay lit for at least 24 hours non-stop. If it would have been any other TV, any other chassis, but this particular one that causes the issues, I'd been a lot more confident and said to myself, oh yeah, all fixed now, no problem. Get it back to the chap. And as you can see, we've now got all the LEDs working. They're all brand new. In fact, this one I'm just tapping now to make sure the connection is good and it's not going to come off. This one is newer than all the rest, because all the rest have been used for 2 or 3 hours. But I'm pretty confident now that this should be fine. But in saying that, I am not putting the TV back together. What I am going to do is plug a HDMI in. I'm not putting the screen back on. I'm not reassembling the TV. I'm going to plug in the HDMI, and then I'm going to switch it to the HDMI channel using the remote control, which means then the TV will think there's a signal there, and it won't go into a shutdown state after, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. So it will stay on for at least 4 hours, because it's probably set to switch off after 4 hours. And I will keep coming back every 4 hours and switching it back on, and I will keep it tested throughout the course of the night and make sure for 24 hours that it stays lit. That's going to be my my master plan, to make sure that it's fine. Now you're probably thinking, how on earth can you select HDMI? I think I've plugged it into HDMI 1, my portable Blu-ray player. How can you select HDMI 1 without a screen? Well, there's 2 ways you can do it. The first way I'm really trying here, but it's not working. If you've got the right channel selected, you'll notice that the backlights flicker with the picture. So if it's a dark scene, the backlights will go dark. And if it's a light scene, the backlights all light up. Or the other thing you can do, which is the simpler way, because I did try for about 5 minutes to try to do it just by using the remote control, is plug the speakers back in. Now you can see I've got the remote control at the moment, so I plug the IR sensor back in, so I can now switch it on and off and select the channels, etc. And I'm looking for the input button on the remote control, and that's it. That's the input button there. So I'm keep pressing the input button, hoping that the backlights will flicker, and then I'll know which one it is. But it didn't work, and I tried it for about 10 minutes, and I couldn't find the channel. So I decided to plug the speakers in and keep pressing the input button until I got audio. And you may be able to hear now. I'm pressing the input button, and lo and behold, eventually, you probably won't be able to hear it because when the speakers aren't in the TV itself, the sound is a bit tinny. But that's it now. So I've got audio playing, I've got a Blu-ray running, and I'm just going to leave it to cycle through its bit and keep it on for 4 hours at a time. And every 4 hours I'm going to come back in, switch the TV back on, because it'll switch to standby after 4 hours. And I'm going to keep doing that for the rest of the day, for the rest of the night, because I want to make sure that these backlights stay on and there's not going to be further issues. So we'll do the testing, and what we'll do is in a couple of days' time we'll come back in and we'll get the camera on and we'll have a look at how it's all panned out. And if it's all worked after 48 hours of testing, then I'll be happy enough to put the TV back together and get it back to the customer. So 48 hours later, this is what happens. And here we are. It's been 48 hours, and I've had this on this test screen for 2 days running solidly. For the first day, I just kept coming back in every 4 hours and switching it on, and then I took off the energy saving part of it so I could just keep it running throughout the night and the day, and it's been like this for about 29 hours. So it's a solid test. And it's proved that the backlight is absolutely fine. The slightly different backlight was up in this bit here. That's not why there's a dark patch there, by the way. That's just what's on the screen. So it was a bit of a fun test. At the end of the day, it was just one backlight which had burnt out. It does happen. It happens on brand new backlights. Just turned out that the brand new backlights had got damaged on this particular one, and the one I replaced it with was a weak one. Now we've put a strong one in, and I'm convinced this TV is going to be as fine as it possibly can be. So that's another one kind of sorted in a different sort of style. Thank you very much for watching.